We all agree that the Warden is pretty scary, but did you know that this one was going to be much worse? Today, you will see images never seen before about the Warden. Welcome back to Bobicraft, but in English! First, we have to review what the Warden is. The Warden is a creature made of organic matter, bones and souls. This mob is blind, so it has to listen and smell you. This mob will be able to spawn in the lost cities of the Warden, and these blue blocks are called the skull. From what we know, this material is made of an organic mass of dead mobs, and that it spreads through a corruption. However, the first idea about the skull wasn't going to be like that, and it really had in connection with meat or something like that. It turns out that the first idea of developers was to add rust to Minecraft, so instead of having skull blocks, we were going to have rust. What you are seeing here is an official image of Minecraft, and here we have the concept of the rust that they were proposing for the deep caves. This one here is a catalyst, the block that is capable of propagating all the skull block, and in art we can see how all this rust is slowly spreading. This idea about rust would have made Minecraft much more realistic, because rust is capable of destroying and corrupting everything it touches. However, Mojang quickly scrapped the rust idea to do something more interesting, and I'm sure they discarded the idea because the blocks copper were already there. Now it would make sense to add oxide if the copper blocks already have some kind of oxide. The copper blocks oxidize over the time, so it would be repeating mechanics. Using rust, how would you create a monster? If we think about it, the idea of creating a rusty monster could end up being the copper golem, but once they dropped the rust idea, they went to another idea, making the skull blocks completely of bones. And here we can see the second concept that they wanted to do. The catalyst would be made of a bunch of broken bones, and then all these bones would be spreading all over the world. If we go to the caves, it will look something like this. And here is my little recreation with the bone blocks that we have in Minecraft. Although my favorite part is the bones skin out of the ground. As we can see in the official art, there are a few bones coming out. Another interesting thing is that these bones would also be fangs. Also, this green block could be some kind of fungus or just grass. Whatever it is, reminds me a lot of the green tiles. Unfortunately, in the end was discarded idea of the bones. Minecraft thought that in the dark void, making some terrifying dark purple blocks, currently the catalyst could emit particles and smoke. It will look something very similar to this. The interesting thing is that this specific concept hides strange things. Under these purple cracks that you can watch, you would see the emptiness pure, and you can clearly notice all this area of emptiness around here. This could have been inspired by the emptiness of Minecraft dungeons, for example, because it has the same colors as the Endermite. Perhaps these concepts were related. Later, this was discarded, and they showed this concept that calls itself full corruption block. Literally, the description of the catalyst is a purple and black corruption block, capable of spreading geometrically as if they were small squares and perfect lines. Once again, it is interesting how they put the word corruption with purple block. Fortunately, there is no more information about this type of corruption that they mentioned in the concept, and woefully didn't make it into the game either. But this idea of geometric corruption was transferred to this other type of corruption. The catalyst block is also called a full block corruption, but this time with more black color. But you are noticing these little particles flying around the block. These particles would be flies. This would add an effect that somehow this corruption is rooted. It's interesting to think that if this concept would have won, the Mojang guys would have implemented flies, maybe with a sound effects and particles. And also you see the circles that are being generated on the ground. Well, this calls it Mojang as a whole disease. This disease, what it would do is breathe holes into a full blocks of corruption. Maybe they removed the idea because this is a disease. Minecraft policies are not supposed to allow disease in the game, so the next idea that Minecraft had was to be inspired by trypophobia. Trypophobia is the fear of small holes very close together, and that's how they created this disgusting concept. This block would be made of meat, a meat that reminds me a lot of axolotls, taking into account that there are pink, purple, brown and yellow colors. This fleshy block would also have a disease, and this disease would be able to create group holes in all the blocks. This block spreads through veins, and this vein create nests that later become small holes, which will reveal the void. The void that we could see below these holes would be something very similar to End. We don't know if it is the same boat, but so it's very similar, and you will see later in the video. Fortunately, this didn't reach Minecraft either, but you know what happens if we inverted the colors of this concept? This is what happens. happened. A block literally similar to the school block. In the end, they combined all these concepts. The oxide block were added into the copper. The corruption of bones, we can currently see them in a skull block, which are made of part of bones. And after all, skull blocks are also blocks of meat, since these blocks are made with the meat of the undead. But this doesn't end here. We are just beginning. Below you will see exclusive designs of the Warden never seen before, and we are going to see how this mob evolved. The Warden wasn't going to be called Warden. They had first thought of the name Stalker. They had also thought of the name Holloway. I present to you the first designs of Warden. At first, they didn't design to have some type of face. In the center of his chest, we could see a kind of gem that would give him life. The Stalker would have ears that could light up when he heard a sound. Its ears could grow in size each time it gets closer to the sound. In addition, it would emit particles of sound waves. In this other concept, you can see an inspiration in the villagers and the pillagers, owing to those big noses that characterize this mob. Who knows, maybe the pillagers would worship this deity. Then we have disgusting things like this: gigantic mouths, a deity with a child on his back, or this four-legged monster with a bunch of eyes above and below. After we have this, the one on the left reminds me of a villager, and the one on the right reminds me of the build of an enderman, with those long and thin limbs. And these designs here are the scariest I ever seen in all video games. Surely Minecraft wouldn't be for children from now on. The Warden would have had a hole in his chest, where the gem that gives it life would be, but just analyze how amorphous it is. Especially, look at those disturbing eyes. It reminds me a lot of this type of monster that the community has created, especially inspired by the sounds of the cave says of Minecraft. Some black creatures with the eyes, they are deities that without a doubt would have given a lot of terror in Minecraft. I would have liked a lot of have this design that really disturbs you when you go to sleep. Then we have other designs similar to the ones we have seen, but a little more inspired by the current Warden. But what if I tell you that developers were thinking of making a second Wither? And those pretty species of the Wither, just look at this design. They look like the cousins or brothers of the Wither, but with two heads. They still have the kind of ribs that the Wither also have on the lower part of their body. Then we have this other one completely corrupted by black and dark void. The next one you're going to see is one of my favorites, and it's made mostly of wither rose. As you can see, there is a wither rose on the part of his head, as if he was made of this plant. And not only that, they also came to think of making the Warden of crying obsidian. This is clearly the texture of crying obsidian, and you can even see his particles on the top, the big ears on his head, and his jaw on his stomach. We probably would have had crying obsidian caves in Minecraft. Plus, nowadays we consider the lush cave as a very quiet place, a place full of life with the green colors and axolotl living peaceful, but perhaps it almost became the most dangerous place in the caves. Take a look at this other design of the Warden. It is clearly inspired by the green vegetation of the lush caves. It can even be seen as if it were a domination cube in the center of his chest like the one in Minecraft Dungeons. So far you have seen designs that were never completed, but below you will see the designs that almost enter Minecraft. I present to you the Hunchback Warden, made of rotten meat that is cracking and making holes throughout his body. This Warden would have arrived next to the skull blocks of meat that we have seen before. This one here is another idea, but more in the shape of a pig, and that face disturbs me a lot. It seems like a Joker. Then we have a combination like this. It has meat in its hands, but the rest is completely rotten in purple, something similar to the corruption of the boy that we also saw. Also, following the same idea of this meat, we have these other designs, and when you see those dark areas, it means that they are rotten. For example, in this last design we have a completely rotten Warden. Those rotten meat designs that reminds us of axolotls are very terrifying, but it's even more terrifying to know that Mojang did create this Warden. You are seeing this first prototype of the Warden already programmed in Minecraft, and as we could see in this concept where the holes would be facing the void, you can watch how the design of this Warden has the void inside these holes, a Minecraft void very similar to the ones in the end, like the ones in the portal. Like other curiosities, they also thought about placing scales on the Warden as a fish, even literally copying the face of the axolotls in pink. Also, they didn't know exactly how to make the Warden's ears, and these are some prototypes. Without a doubt, today we have been surprised with some secrets we didn't know about the Warden. If you want to continue surprising yourself, click here to see another Minecraft interesting video, and on the right you have a video suggested by the YouTube algorithm.